Alpha Pickleball Podcast, where we slice through the noise to bring you the juiciest insights, strategies, and stories from the dynamic world of pickleball. Join us as we serve up engaging conversations with top players, coaches, and enthusiasts, giving you an ace perspective on all things pickleball. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just stepping onto the court, get ready for a volley of knowledge that'll elevate your game to alpha levels. Let the rallies begin.
All right, welcome again to the show. I'm your host, Tats, and we're really excited to have Brooke Reveulta on the show today. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Awesome. Now you have a tennis background, and
Yep.
you told me you're just finishing up school.
I am, yes. So I started playing tennis when I was 4 years old and loved it. But the beginning of last year, wanted to find something to get away from it, a hobby outside, something fun. And I started playing pickleball. And yeah, pickleball changed my life from there on. I loved it. I mean, I was still in my high school tennis season at the time that I started. So my high school tennis coach was like, "Oh, you have to play more tennis. Stop playing pickleball." And I'm just like, "No, I'm gonna keep playing pickleball." So we ended up winning states. And then after that is when I started to transfer over to full pickleball.
Wow. So when you're starting at 4, I mean, what did that look like for you? Is a family member coaching you? Like how was your early days of tennis?
So I actually used to live next to my old tennis coach. So that's kind of how we got into it. I had a friend that we would do all these sports together, and we were just kind of trying out different things, seeing which one I liked the best, and tennis is the one that I stuck with, and I liked the best out of all of them. I tried gymnastics, soccer, but tennis was the one I loved. And then started taking lessons with the coach that I knew because we were right next to him, and he was a great coach, taught me everything I knew, and it was awesome. I mean, it was a fun time for me. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously when I was younger, it didn't mean as much, and then when I started to get older, there was more pressure, and it was a whole different game for me.
Yeah. So you played a ton of tournaments, probably.
Yes, I did.
And yeah, high school, obviously when you move up the tennis ranks, everything becomes a little bit more established, the rankings, where you go, college, all that stuff. I mean, winning state is not a small thing.
No, it was great. It was so much fun. I was even talking at that time, like talking to D1 college coaches and touring schools and planning to go to college for tennis. And then pickleball happened and everything changed.
Yeah. Who do you find it yourself, or did you have a friend that was playing? What would that look like?
Yes, so a friend and I started playing pickleball together because we had one of our other friends' dads. Um he told us like, "Oh, you should try out pickleball. It's so much fun." And I'm like, "What is pickleball?" It's like an old person sport. Like that's mini tennis, okay. So I was like, "Okay, let's give it a go." Um First time I played, had no idea what I was doing, and then the second time I played was like I just jumped into a tournament. And I was still
Second
like,
second time you played?
second time I played pickleball, I played a tournament. And it was like a 4-0 or something. And I was stepping in the kitchen, hitting third shots in the air. I had no idea what the rules were, and I was just a mess. But after that, we started playing like every day, and then it was so much fun. I love
Yeah.
it.
I mean, coming from a tennis background as well and talking to a lot of tennis players that have converted over, what part of the game came easy for you and what came hard? Or was it every all hard or all easy?
It was both. So I feel like in tennis, where I thrived in doubles. And even though I played more singles, but I loved being at the net. And so my net game was really good. So coming over to pickleball, I had good hands, but then I really struggled with the dinking and the third shot drops. That was so different because you don't dink in tennis. And so the drives, obviously in pickleball, I had that down, but it was just the dinking and the third shots, the drops, all of that. It took a lot of drilling and practice to really get them down and, you know, make them a better shot for me because it was not natural.
Yeah. I mean, did you start drilling right away, or did it like
No.
were you type no, you just at some point?
No. I started we would just play games. Like we would play rec games. I didn't even start playing singles until like maybe the end of June last year. But we would just play games, go to a tournament, and then um I started actually drilling when I got a coach in August of last year. And so that's when I really learned how to dink and I really learned how to drop. And it made a difference because the repetition, going out there every day and working on those and having someone who knows how to actually hit them, it made it a whole big difference.
Wow. And what was your criteria for a coach? Were they nearby? Like how did you sort of, because not there's a lot of things that are not as established in pickleball than in tennis. So
Right.
who was your coach and what was your criteria?
So, my coach's name is Mario, and so there's very few. I'm in Miami, and there's very few coaches, like maybe three that I know of. And the biggest things were, yes, he's close to me, and he's a high level player, and one of the main reasons why I really like him as a coach is because he's strictly a pickleball player. So he never had any tennis background. And I feel like that was what I needed because I knew how to play tennis. And coming to pickleball, I had the fundamentals, but I needed to learn how to play pickleball. And having someone who only knew pickleball really helped me learn the game and how to hit these certain shots. And it was a really good thing for me to have.
Wow, that's interesting. It's been the opposite for me. I needed someone that
Really?
knew how to translate and get off some of the tennis stuff, but
Really?
played pickleball well. But
Yeah.
that's cool. I love that. Just pickleball. Okay. And what sort of
Right.
things did they stress for you early on?
Um, So the dinking and the dropping, that was one of the first things so when we started training together, we started doing workouts specific to pickleball, and then also drilling and finding games too. So, um, early on, we were really focused on the dinking and the dropping. And I think at that time, when we first started training together, I actually had no idea what I was doing. Like, he had to hand feed me balls to show me how to hit a dink and how to hit a drop and show me the technique and all of that. So I think probably for like a month we worked on all of that just to get it really set down. And that was one of the main things that we first started working on.
Awesome. And then I guess, at what point because right now you're playing, professional feed-in tournaments and tournaments. I mean, at what point did you just say, hey, I want to go for this?
So it was it was tough because of the tennis, all the time I've spent with tennis. My parents were a little shocked with pickleball. Um, I threw myself into a pro tournament in the PPA in Denver, Colorado in July, beginning of July. And I only signed up for singles, pro singles. And I told you I hadn't played any singles till like the end of June. So it was like, okay, I'm gonna go try this. Let's just see how it goes. I ended up playing Annalie Waters in my second round, and I lost 11-8, 11-9. It was a great match. So after that, we were like, okay, maybe we can do this. But it was still like iffy because I didn't, again, at that time, I still didn't know what I was doing with the dinks and the drops. It was all pretty new. And I just started to play more tournaments, like maybe once a month. end of August, went to the PPA in Kansas City. I started meeting more people. I did the PPA in California. It was kind of gradually building up how many tournaments I played and seeing how I did to see if it was something that I can do. And eventually my mom was just like, let's just do it. Let's go all in. I don't have much time till I have to go to college. And if I want to play tennis, I would have to go back to tennis. So we were just like, let's do it. And my mom was all in for it. So she said, okay.
That's awesome. And I mean, you played singles, but obviously doubles, sort of is a different game.
Yeah.
So how did you gain experience there? You said there wasn't too many players in your area.
Right. So there's a local park here that a lot of the high level players, we all used to go there. And I mean, it could be on and off. There could be some high level, some low level, but we would all usually know when we were going, the higher level players that were here in my area. And it's just getting games in. I would get a ton of games in, drilling every day, and then games like later in the day, or I would just find a group of 4 to go and play games with. And getting the repetition by drilling and then also using that in the games was what really helped.
Yeah. So trial and error, I mean, would you map out certain patterns that you liked? I mean, how much of it is trial and error versus deliberate grinding patterns?
Um, I'd say most of it was trial and error because I would go and drill a shot in with my coach, and then later in the games, it was like I either had that shot or it was just still a shot I was working on. So I would just work on it in the games. So it was mostly trial and error, I would say. By figuring out what to do in those game situations, that like figuring out myself was a big help.
And I mean, how much of, what quote unquote your game is, what came naturally, or did you kind of really have to sort of, sort of try, well, you said that you tried different things. At what point did you find that your game was coming together as sort of a cohesive thing?
Oh, wow. Not that long ago. I would probably say I really started to feel like my game improved in maybe October, November, around that time of last year. Um, it still wasn't quite there yet. I mean, I feel like I definitely still had things to improve. And once I had a ton of tournaments in a row. So once I got back home, we like settled down and trained for a little bit and got that back. And it's feeling really on. So
Yeah, and and I wasn't sure. Did you go with similar partners? Did you try tons of different partnerships? Like, what was your thought process around partners?
So at first I tried a few different ones just to feel out what I liked from them, what I didn't like from them, if it was someone that we had chemistry. I found it a lot easier to find men's partners, which I mean, it makes sense. There's a ton of guys and not a lot of girls. But I definitely tried out a ton of partners until um actually I partnered up with Michael Lloyd randomly. We weren't even supposed to play together. But it ended up being a great random partnership. So it really worked out.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, how much of that with the partnership? I guess let's say, yeah, you live in different places, right, with Michael? So, I mean, how
Yes.
much of it, talking through the games, like, because you can't always go in tournaments with people that are in your area if you are playing all over the place.
Yeah.
So, what is your process of sort of getting to know someone or getting to know their game and stuff? Do you show up early? Do you talk beforehand? What's that process look like for you?
So I feel like one of the biggest things with that, having a partner that lives in different areas, is that it's great to be friends outside of the court. That's probably one of my biggest things because if you can't communicate like normally and have conversations outside of pickleball, I feel like it just won't work out. and it just helps a lot with your communication. And so when me and Michael go and play, I think we played about like seven or eight tournaments now together. So we'll just go. We normally get there like a day or two early. We'll see each other on that day. We'll practice, maybe drill, do whatever, and then it's like as if we were never like so far apart because we're just friends off the court too. So it works out.
Yeah. And tournament day, like in terms of preparation, mental equipment or anything, is there anything that you took away where you do particularly?
Um, there's not much that I do. I try to just stay in a good mood, and then I just I kind of really focus and just lock in. Like when I was at the APP Next Gen, every single day, I felt like I was just so zoned in. And there's times where like I didn't even know who was on the other side of the court. I was just playing. So I feel like really just focusing and not even worrying about anybody else. I mean, just going out and playing your game. That's what I try to do every day. So
Really? So not even, caring who it is, you have your game, you want to play your game.
exactly.
Oh, that's
And once
interesting.
once I start the game, I start to figure out the player, or if I already know them,
Yeah.
it goes.
Yeah. So does that mean like, even if do you go to the extent of not caring about looking at the draw at all?
Yes, sometimes yes.
Did you do
Like
that in tennis?
I think yes, in tennis all the time I would never look at the draw. I think I normally look at it the day of when I get there. I
Ah,
mean sometimes the draws don't even come out till like midnight, but I won't even look at it if it comes out the night before in the morning when I wake up. No, I'll look at it last second, like the morning when I get there to the site. So,
wow. Because some people are like, looking at the draw and then they're drilling into it. But for you to stay loose, I guess, you're
yes,
just like, I don't care. I'm just gonna go out there and play my game and figure it out.
exactly. It
Huh.
works better for me.
What about mental? Like, let's say you're playing a game, things are not going as planned. I mean, do you do anything different? Like, do you have any mental cues that you carried, or just, or something else?
I do tell myself to lock in a lot. That's a word that I use. There's two words I use. Normally if things aren't going my way, I'll just take a breather. I just focus on my breathing and kind of just calm down a little bit, not think too much about it, but just like focus on the whatever I'm doing wrong. I'll focus on one thing and I'll take that one thing and then just fix it in my mind and then fix it on the court and then I'll forget about it.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. So a
Yeah,
technical thought or just like a general reminder, a cue, feel cue that you've known in the past to be helpful to you?
both. Both.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because
Interesting.
if it's a technical problem, I normally realize what I did wrong and I'll take a quick snapshot of it and then put it out of my brain.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
A lot of things for me, I play better when I'm not thinking too much.
mhm.
I usually have one or two things to focus on, and then that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's very cool. All right. In terms of, let's see, your development, are you going to do anything different going forward?
Yes. So, I've been playing almost every single tournament, and it's getting pretty expensive. So, I think I am getting, sorry. I think I'm gonna like change my schedule a little bit. I mean, right now on my schedule I have like everything on there, but I'm gonna just figure out which tournaments I have set partners for and which tournaments, I think I could skip over just so that way I'm not gone for so long because being away from home does like it interferes with like my practice schedule, my workout schedule. So being gone for like 2 weeks at once is kind of a lot. And then also with the progressive draws, I'm not sure if I love them because you have to get there on a Monday. Well, for someone like me, I have to get there on a Monday, and then I go and play on a Tuesday, and it's a little hard with other tournaments. Like for example, I played the APP Next Gen, played singles on Sunday, and had to fly to Arizona for the Mesa tournament, which started on Tuesday. So it was like Sunday play all day, and then flight Monday morning, and then play on Tuesday. So it was hard. So that was also something I'm taking into consideration when I'm picking my next tournaments.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And looking at it, you're I think you said you're 17 and
18. I just turned 18.
18. Perfect.
Yeah.
And so just looking at the lens of, people your age or younger, right? Because pickleball is getting younger and younger. What do you think pickleball or these clubs and people that are trying to promote the game could do to make pickleball more appealing or more sort of supportive through that age group?
Right. I feel like a lot more high schools maybe could add. I know my old high school has a pickleball club. I feel like that's the only one I've heard of that has a pickleball club. I feel like if a lot of more high schools added a pickleball club or had a team even, I feel like it would gain a lot of popularity within the young people, and they would have a lot of fun with it, especially in high school sports, the team environment, even in college. I know colleges have club pickleball. And getting into the NCAA is going to take a little bit longer, but I feel like high school having a team pickleball, I feel like that would really do well.
That's true. That could be a better focus because I think especially even more so, I think on the men's side, there's so many sports to compete with.
Yes.
So yeah, I think high school probably is that untapped area if there was a little bit of effort into that.
For sure.
That makes sense. For someone that's trying to compete, let's say 4-ish or up, what advice do you have for those people that are kind of trying to improve?
I would say not to ignore the drilling, because that was probably one of the things that I did when I first started off too, and I was playing the 4.0 level. I would never drill. I didn't know how to drill, but it's a lot more easy than it sounds, I guess. I mean, it's fairly easy. You just, pick what you want to work on, but drilling makes you better.
Yeah. And just give me a sense of a typical drilling routine or a drilling process around trying to improve something.
So, for example, like if you want to work on your third shot drops, a drill that my coach and I like to do a lot. This is just one drill, but we'll spend like maybe 15-20 minutes on it sometimes. We call it the ladder drill. So basically you start at the kitchen and you'll hit 2 shots. You'll hit 2 dinks at the kitchen, and then every time you hit 2, you'll take a step back. And you'll just keep dropping from different areas of the court, working your way back to the baseline and then back up to the kitchen. And that one really helps me dial in my drops from any part of the court. And you could do backhands only, or you could do both, forehands only. It's a great drill for me.
Nice. Very nice. Is there something I have not asked you, but you wanted to share?
I can't think of anything right now.
Awesome. Well, your partner Michael said very kind things about you, and voila, the next weekend you won. So
It's thanks to Michael. He's awesome. He's the best.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to the Alpha Pickleball Podcast with Tats. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, rate, and connect with us on social media. Stay alpha on the pickleball court. Until our next session.